Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So we're back with the continuation of my Yona Of The Dawn read-through as we're diving straight into Volume 3. I think we're going to get right into the video because I don't think I have any major news or announcements to give at the top of this video. I know one quick thing I'll address. I know a few people have asked me about this on the channel update video, and I thought I'd pointed it out in the video, but it seems like some people are confused about it. So yes, I will be doing a read-through reaction to Descender on my channel. It's not going to be on my Twitter, unless someone is interested in me doing both. If you want to see me post thoughts on Twitter for whatever reason, I'm totally cool with doing that as well. So if you want that to be happening in addition to me doing the video read-throughs, let me know in the comments below, and I can definitely work out the logistics of that. But apart from that, yes, I will be doing a read-through of Descender on the channel. It's probably going to come out sometime tomorrow or Sunday, depending on family and other obligations and stuff. But it'll definitely come out this weekend, so look forward to it. And after that, I know a few people asked if I'm going to be reading some of Lemayere's other series. So after I finish with Descender, I'll probably try to do Ascender because it's the direct sequel and kind of do the continuation of that. But I'll also try to do Black Hammer, I think, is another one of his series that a lot of people have recommended. So I might do that as another series read through on the channel. But if you have any more recommendations, please let me know in the comments below. But without further ado, let's get into Yona Of The Dawn, Volume 3, with Chapter 12, The Valley That the Voice of God Calls. So we have Yona looking at the scruffy-looking priest going, "So you're a priest? I was told that my uncle Yuhan drove all the priests out, so I thought you'd be a lot older." And you have the other one going, "I don't know, he seems pretty old to me." And apparently he is 33 years old. So the priest goes, "Well, my predecessor was, but now I've replaced him." And Yona goes, "So you knew I'd be coming here?" And he's like, "Sure did. It's my job to share the voice of God with everyone. God gives me information about all sorts of things that are happening out in the world. I pray that everyone will live happy lives." It's just a quick look at the scruffy priest, if you can see it. Sorry, I know the lighting's kind of harsh in here because of the sunlight, but hopefully you get that. So the other one goes, "It's not much of a job. You don't even make any money. You're still covered in mud. Hurry up and get changed." And he goes, "All you do is pray all day. All that fishy talk about the voice of God is what got you guys kicked out of the temple." And then Yona's like, "Why were you kicked out?" And you hear, "Wait, what?" And the other one goes, "You lived in the palace, but you don't know?" And Yona's a little bit taken aback by this as she goes, "I'm even ignorant about things that went on in the palace itself." And then Yona calls out, "Huck! Oh, Huck!" Then you have Yun going, "Out of the way, he's got a fever." No surprise with those injuries. And Yona's thinking, "Huck, no, don't die." And Yun goes, "The fever won't break for a while because he had an operation. The worst should be over after tonight." And Yona's like, "Please save him." And Yun's just kind of like, that's what I'm doing. I don't want him to die on me, but I'm not a doctor. You shouldn't just assume I'd help. You haven't even thanked me for saving you." And then he goes, "Have you even thanked him? He nearly died protecting you." And Iksu comes up behind her in his freshly dug up robes, and he goes, "It's all right. Death isn't here for him today. He'll come back." And he goes over to Yun and he goes, "Yun, be nice to her." Yun's like, "But I can't stand royalty and the nobility." And Iksu goes, "She's fighting battles of her own." And you see the next day, Yona goes over to Yun, who's grinding some herbs in the little roller. And she goes, "Thank you for saving me." And she goes, "Could you please teach me about priests? I don't know anything about you, and I don't want to stay ignorant." So Yun turns around and goes, "First of all, I'm not a priest. I just look after Iksu since he's too much of a flake to take care of himself. He was really young when they were thrown out of the palace. He was still in training as a priest. The temple was destroyed and lots of priests were arrested and executed. Earlier you asked why they were thrown out. They had an authority that even the king couldn't overrule. Yona's like, not even the king? And Yun continues, that's right. The priests were revered as servants of God. They were deeply involved in national matters and politics. Sometimes they decided how wars would play out, or even brought down kings. They justified it as the wrath of God. So on the page over them, you see the priests, with their little, with the little staffs that they use, and the long flowing hair and the ceremonial robes, and they've got wings coming out of their back like angels. And you see a depiction of a king lying on the ground, struck through the heart by a lightning bolt. And Yun continues, obviously the king resented the extent of their influence. When King Il's father, Junam, was king, Koka was annexing other countries' territories. A lot of that was Prince Yuhan's doing. The priests were a threat to the throne's power, and Yuhan needed them out of the way. And so Yona goes, so that's why my uncle got rid of them. And she goes, it must be tough living in such a desolate place. And Yun goes, it's not. I don't like dealing with people. And Iksu finds it relaxing here. The towns are packed with poor people. A few folks in the capital are the only ones who are well off. Iksu's too tender-hearted. He wants to help everyone, but it's impossible, and that depresses him. He's completely helpless without me. And Yona goes, thank you. Please tell me more later. She kind of just draws her knees up to her chest as she nods off to sleep. And she thinks, hurry and get well, Huck. And you see later she wakes up with a jolt as she's been put back into bed. And she goes, Huck's gone. And she sees Yun and Iksu sleeping nearby. And she goes outside to look for him. The rustle. And you see a trip and a splat as she trips over a rock and bloodies her nose. And as she's thinking of Huck, being all bandaged up and bloodied, she goes, Huck, you stupid! And Huck shows up behind her using his little spear as a crutch. And he goes, I wasn't expecting that. If you're sitting out here in the dark and insulting me after I made a miraculous recovery, guess you're doing fine then. What's the matter? Did you have a scary dream? And Yona's got this angry look on her face. She's also got tears coming to her eyes. And she's like, I wouldn't cry about that. And Huck's like, oh no? Where were you? Oh no, Yona goes, where were you? And he goes, I went looking for my glaive. And she smacks him and goes, then you should have woken me up. And he goes, I see. Can't sleep by yourself, huh? You need me right beside you? Here I am. She's like, you dummy, you're hurt. How could you leave? You got injured so badly. You're so reckless. I thought you were going to die. Don't go off without telling me. And you see that Yona's just starting to look concerned now as tears are coming up again. And she starts crying. She goes, I need you right here with me. And Huck's a little taken aback by this. And he goes, you're making me want to die. And she's like, huh? All those tears on your homely face are getting to me. Makes me want to die so I can see how hard you'll cry then. And then he leans in for a kiss. And then they end up bonking their heads and they're just like, oh. Huck's like, if you didn't want me to, you could have just moved. Yona's like, what do you mean? And Huck's like, I wanted to check your fever, but I headbutted you instead. Did I miss something? Oh no, sorry, it's Yona saying that she wanted to do that, I think. And then Huck goes, nope, this fever's making me act weird. And Yona's like, but it's not as bad as before. And then Huck finally notices, Yona's hair, and he's like, your hair. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Yona's like, it's fine. My head feels lighter. And anyway, I've always hated it. And she just tugs on one of her one of the locks of her hair. And she thinks back to, well, I think your hair's wonderful. And you see her rustle. And you see Yona going, besides, it looks fine, doesn't it? And Huck's thinking of her saying, I need you right here with me. And he goes, you're right. Your head's nothing special, but your hair looks nice. And he goes, she talks like it's nothing. And Yona's like, I'm going to sew your mouth shut. And then Huck continues, but even though her hair's too short to put up now, she's still clinging to that hairpin. You see, back in the cottage, Iksu's sleeping as he hears a thump, and he twitches and he wakes up. The next day, you see Huck is just munching on some breakfast as he goes, huh? A priest's house? This place? Seriously? Yona's like, yeah. He's like, wow, what an amazing coincidence. I get that he's in hiding here, but I pictured a priest's house as more like a shrine. And Yona's like, hey, don't just dig in without permission. And you see, I think Yun's been clear, making some kind of rice balls or something, and he's got a little basket on his head that he's been putting it into. And Huck's just been stealing it out of the basket. And Huck's like, oh, have mercy on me, Lord Priest. And he's like, I'm not a priest. And Yona's like, speaking of which, I wonder where he went. And so she goes down the path near the hut to go exploring. And she sees Iksu sitting on this little ledge, watching this little waterfall area nearby. And Yona's like, Sir Priest? And as Iksu turns around, you can see tears just streaming down his face. And she's like, what's the matter? And he's like, oh, I had a dream about you. You and our world. Princess Yona, do you want to hear the voice of God? And so Yona's just silent for a moment, then she goes, Mundok told me to find a priest who'd show me what path to take. Is that path what you want to show me? I thought I was supposed to stay put and not do anything, but I was hunted down. Huck was almost killed, and I almost died too. My blood began to burn. It got so hot that I felt like I was going to boil. I can stand on my own 2 feet. I wanted to live. I wasn't going to let anyone take away my life or Huck's. That's all I wish for right now, so I don't see much point in asking God. And then I think this is Iksu going, no, your idea of living is not a life of peace. For you, living means calling up a storm that will shake Koka to its very foundations. You have Huck coming up behind her as Yona goes, Sir Priest? And he goes, if you want to live honestly, and if that burning blood of yours can't be controlled, then I'll share the voice of God with you. And then you see chapter 13, Fate. You have Iksu kind of just do the praying stance with his head upturned. It goes, darkness falls upon the great earth through the blood of dragons. A revival comes again, bound by the covenant of old when the 4 dragons assemble. The sword and shield that protect the monarch shall awaken, and the red dragon shall return at dawn. And after that, he just kind of topples over to the side. And he goes, it's mentally exhausting to channel the voice of God. And Yun comes up and just starts prodding at him and goes, you're too young to be so decrepit. What a pain. And Huck's like, dragons this, gods that. None of it makes any sense. I don't care what you say. I'm still not buying your pots. And Yona's just confused. She's like, pots? Yun's like, we're not selling any. And Yona goes, is the red dragon in this prophecy the same as the king from the legends? And Iksu goes, you know the legend of this nation's founding? He goes, yes. In the story, the Crimson Dragon God became a human and descended to earth from the heavens to rule this kingdom. It's the tale of the Crimson Dragon King, the first king of Koka. My father used to tell me that story. Iksu goes, the Crimson Dragon King became human, but he eventually had to go to war against other humans. Evil filled people's hearts. They turned away from the gods and the nation fell into ruin. The Crimson Dragon King was taken captive by humans who wanted power. But then just as they were about to destroy him, and you hear Crimson Dragon, 4 dragons descended from the heavens. We've come for you, Crimson Dragon. The humans have forgotten faith, love, and your teachings. Destroy them and let us return to the heavens. However, the Crimson Dragon was not persuaded. No, I too am human now. Even if humans hate or betray me, I can't help but love them. The dragons loved the Crimson Dragon and didn't want to lose him. In order to protect him, the blue, green, yellow, and white dragons gave their blood to several human warriors, thus bestowing great powers upon them. To one was given sharp claws that could tear through anything. To one was given eyes that could see a great distance. To one was given a body impervious to injury. And to one was given legs that could leap high into the sky. You are now extensions of us. You must serve the Crimson Dragon. You must protect and love him all the days of your lives and never betray him. The warriors who gained the power of the dragon gods took command of their tribes, protected the Crimson Dragon King, and quelled the unrest in the land. And eventually, exhausted from many battles, the Crimson Dragon fell asleep, and the duty of the 4 dragon warriors came to an end. The 4 dragon warriors shed tears for their motionless king. Did they weep for the loss of someone so dear to them, or was the blood of the dragon gods within them grieving the death of the Crimson Dragon? Even they themselves did not know. Then the 4 dragon warriors, believing that their power was too strong for humans to control, left their tribes and vanished into parts unknown. Each tribe developed in its own unique way until they became the 5 tribes we know today. And Yona goes, but what does the legend have to do with me? And Iksu said, you wanted to live, right? Yeah. And Yona goes, yes. And he goes, unfortunately, you can't survive on your own. If you leave here, more people will try to take your life. You have Lord Huck at your side supporting you, but at this rate, he'll lose his life. And Huck, sitting off nearby, goes, hang on a sec. Don't go killing me off. I can't hear the voice of God, but... And then Yun just comes up and punches him in the back. And Huck's like, you can't scare us into giving you any offerings. And he's like, there, you see? And Iksu goes, the situation is dire. To survive, you're going to need allies. And Yona goes, like who? And Iksu goes, search for the 4 dragon warriors. And Yona gets all sparkle-eyed and excited. She's like, the 4 dragon warriors from the legends? They're still around? And Huck's like, oh, come on. They're from the Age of Myths. And Iksu goes, they do exist. To this very day, they live in this kingdom, in secret. They still carry the blood passed down to them from the dragons. They will surely stand with you. And Yona goes, Sir Priest, I don't want Huck to die, but why would legendary dragons help me with such personal troubles? And then Iksu continues, you miraculously evaded death on that horrible night. You miraculously escaped from the palace. You fell off a cliff and miraculously survived. Miraculous is no longer the right word. It was fate that led you here. That's what I truly believe. If you find the 4 legendary dragons, it won't be because of your personal difficulties, but because it is fate. But heaven can only show you the path. You must choose to walk it. And then Iksu just kind of slumps over again. He's like, oh, I'm exhausted from all this talking. Gods and old people talk too much, honestly. And then you see later that night, Yona's gone out to stare at the stars, and he hears a rustle, and then a princess. And she sees Huck coming behind her, she gives him a shove and goes, no, get some sleep. And he's like, ugh. He's like, I'm all better now. I'm not gonna die. Got it? And Yona's like, Huck, I want to meet these people who have the blood of the 4 dragons. And Huck's like, and then what? They might not even exist. Even if they do, who knows if they're friendly? And Yona goes, we'll deal with that if it happens. But I don't want to be stuck here. I want to do whatever it takes to move forward. I want to be stronger. Teach me how to use a sword or a bow. I'll master it. I hate the thought of dying from something I could have avoided. But losing you would be even worse. And she has a look of absolute determination on her face as she goes, I'll do whatever it takes to keep that from happening, even if I have to acquire a god's power. Huck goes, I told you I'm not going to die. But if that's your will, then let's gamble on fate. And so Yona kind of just goes and just starts patting his head and goes, you've been a good boy lately. Good job. He's like, could you give me some space? And she's like, how come? And you can see Huck is just like uncomfortable with all this attention she's giving him. And he's trying to play it off and being like, because you're annoying. She's like, what? Because excuse me. And you hear, oh, excuse me. And you see Iksu coming up behind them going, have you made a decision? And Yona's like, uh-huh. And he goes, there's a favor I'd like to ask of you two. And you see, wow, did you make these clothes, Yun? And you see that Yona on the next page is dressed up all prettily. Hopefully you can see that as best as you can. Again, apologize for the sunlight coming in. This kind of screwing up the lighting on this a bit, but that's all I can do about it. And Yun's like, I had some spare fabric lying around. I know it's not as fancy as silk, but it should still be better than those rags you were wearing. And Yona just smiles and she goes, this is an interesting style. I like it. And then you see Yona going off and trying to heft up this giant axe, and she goes, lend me some kind of cutting tool. I want to trim my hair. Yun's like, with that? He's like, honestly, can you do anything? This is why I can't stand princesses. You see Yona sitting down on a rock as Yun starts just trimming her hair for her. And she goes, thanks. He's like, seems like you can do anything, Yun. And he goes, well, I've got this priest to look after. He's always getting hurt, so I learned medicine. And I'm an amazing cook. My only flaw is I'm too pretty. And Yona's like, I didn't ask about that. And she goes, you're also awfully kind. Yun's like, huh? And she goes, Iksu is too. And despite saying how much you hate royalty, you trimmed my hair. And Yun goes, just so you know, I'm charging you for the medical treatment, the clothes, the haircut. And Yundok's like, send the bill to Mundok. And then Yun's like, Mundok, he's a Wind Tribe hero. He'll send it right back. And Yona's like, Mundok's a hero? And Yun's like, you're so stupid. Mundok ranks up with Yuhan as the most powerful general ever. And she's like, you really know everything, huh? And you can just see him sparkling. He's like, I can't help it. I'm a genius. I automatically memorize everything I read. But there's so many books out there and I've read so few. There are tons of books I've never even heard of. It's annoying. Yona goes, Yun, listen. And Yun goes, but it's no big deal. I can keep collecting a few at a time. For now, this ratty old book is all I need. Yona's like, what's that book? And he goes, that idiot Iksu said he dug through the trash to get it for me, and it tore when he tripped over thin air. It's like, he sure sounds clumsy. Yun's like, pretty silly, you know. All this talk about God is fishy too. But I know better than anyone that he's incapable of lying. And you can see Yona just staring at him. Yun goes, anyway, if you're taking a trip, you should get going. I don't have time to look after you. And you see Yona going into Iksu's hut where he's kneeling, staring at the wall. And she goes, Iksu? And he goes, oh, your highness, those clothes. They're lovely. They look wonderful on you. Yun made this, didn't he? He really is amazing. Like, so, how did things go with him? And Yona goes, Iksu, you remind me of my father. And he's like, huh? King Il? He's like, yeah, I'm honored. And she goes, yeah, you're unreliable, you cry easily, and you're too carefree. But you're easy to love. You see the next page that Yun is just cradling the book close to his chest. He's walking by, and he sees Yona and Iksu talking. And she goes, and Yun is rude, but he loves you. And Yun's like, what are they talking about? And Yona goes, I don't want to tear our family apart. We can't bring him with us. And you see her thinking back to the favor that Iksu asked of them, which is, there's a favor I'd like to ask of you two. You asked us to take him along, but I can't do it. Not unless he wants to come. And Iksu's like, you're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked. And you see Tim 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 as Iksu just runs out of the house. And Yona calls after him, Iksu. And you see that Yun is standing outside just waiting. And as Iksu notes him, goes, Yun, perfect timing. I was just... Iksu grabs him, slams him against the wall, and puts one foot next to him as he goes, what were you talking about? Where do you want me to go? And you have chapter 14, The Chosen Door. And you see that Iksu's run off to the waterfall area, and he's looking a little bit scruffy and beaten up. He goes, going behind my back like that? Thinking back, what are you thinking? You want me to go with them? Iksu. And he's like, you should leave this place and help the princess. And Yun's like, why would I do that? Are you kidding me? And Yona's watching this being like, oh dear. And Iksu goes, you shouldn't be waste away here. You should go see the world. And he's like, I'll be fine without you. And you see a little snap sound effect as Yun just getting super pissed off with that. He's like, that jerk. And he's grabbing the book just ready to tear it in half. You see him thinking back to when Iksu first gave it to him, going, Yun, look at this. It's a book on medicine. What do you think? And he stops. He thinks about him saying, you should go see the world. He goes, crap. And we get into a flashback as we go 7 years ago. Toka village in the Fire Tribe territory. And you hear, eek, someone help me. And you see a little dirty, little scrappy little child running off with a parcel of some kind. And you see him just digging into the dirt going, yesterday I ate some tree roots. That field didn't even have any bugs, never mind crops. Today I'll steal some food. And then you see a baby Yun trying to survive, getting by as an orphan. And you have, when I tried it before, I almost got killed. But this time I'll do it better. One strike. And if I do die, I don't care. And you see a thwack and an ack. As Iksu's thrown a rock at someone's head and knocked them over. And they fall over with a thud. And Yun's like, good. And it goes tum tum tum, runs up to them and starts rummaging through their clothes. Going, money, money, food. And you see that it's Iksu, that young Nun knocked over, who grabs his hand and goes, sorry, I don't have anything. You're, ah! And a gah, as they get knocked out again. The next page, you see as Iksu finally comes around. You have Yun going, don't move, as he's got a little sickle and he's holding it over him. Iksu's like, you're that kid from earlier. And you have Yun going, people in town are talking about an outsider who's carrying gold nuggets. That's you, right? So hand him over. And as Yun's trying to be threatening, you see Iksu just starting to cry. Yun's like, there's no point in crying. You see Iksu going, I'm sorry, I just gave my gold to someone else. That was the last of it. And then you have Yun going, aw. And he goes, but if I find more, I'll be sure to bring it to you. And Yun's like, oh. And he's taken aback by this. And Iksu's like, huh? And Yun goes, it's your own fault for being oblivious. This is a dog-eat-dog place. And Iksu's like, I'm fine, it doesn't hurt. No need to worry. And Yun's like, why would I be worried about you? I'm the one who almost killed you, remember? And then Iksu just gets up and bows and goes, sorry to take up your time. Yun's like, are you even listening to me at all? And you see Iksu just not a care in the world, just making his arms, just wandering off with the wobble. Yun's like, hey, I want to talk to you more about those gold nuggets. I'll let you stay overnight at my place. So then Iksu turns around and goes, oh, wonderful. To be honest, I was going to sleep outdoors tonight. I accept your kind offer. My name is Iksu. So you see later that night in the hut, Iksu's curled up and sleeping. And Yun comes up and checks his temperature, goes, he's warm. He's still alive. I should put some ointment on him. So you see him dragging out some little ointment and dabbing it on the head injury he gave him. And you can see Iksu got woken up by this and he just smiles. You see the next day that Yun's there, curled up sleeping, going, it's cold, I'm hungry. Am I going to die here? And you see Iksu just coming up behind and putting a potato in his face. Yun's like, a potato? And Iksu's like, heh, for you. And Yun's like, where'd you get it? Did you steal it? And Iksu's like, no, it was a gift. And Yun's like, I haven't had a potato in ages. And you see, oh, he sees that Iksu's feet have been really scratched up badly. And he goes, what happened to your shoes? And Iksu goes, oh, I traded them for that potato. And Yun goes, you traded them? But it's freezing, what'll you do? Why would you do this for me? You must want something. And Iksu goes, I wanted to thank you for putting ointment on my wound. And Yun's just all embarrassed. He's like, you were awake? And Iksu's like, yes, and it worked so well. My heart feels warm and full. It's moving me to tears, and he just starts crying. He was like, oh, why are you crying? He's like, you're weird. Are all outsiders like you? And Iksu goes, there are all sorts of outsiders. I don't visit the capital very often, though. And Yun's like, the capital? Iksu's like, do you want to go there? He's like, yeah. I want to get out of this town as soon as I can. I want to see the capital and foreign lands. And when I grow up, I want to read tons of books. I want to go someplace where I can study all I want. And Iksu's like, you can read? That's amazing. And Yun's like, well, sure. Only simple books, though. Someday I'll be able to read harder ones. And Iksu goes, in that case, I'll try to find you a book. You can find them in all kinds of places. And you have, huh? And Yun goes, so what do you do for a living anyway? And Iksu's like, I pray to God. I trust what God tells me and visit people who need encouragement. I help them rediscover the courage to live their lives. And Yun goes, but God doesn't exist. And Iksu just gives him a beatific smile. And Yun thinks, God isn't real, but this guy doesn't seem like a liar. He goes, where are you going now? Will you be all right without shoes? And you have Iksu just grabbing a bundle of straws, like, I'll be fine, I'll make some sandals. And Yun's like, sandals? And Iksu's like, I learned how a while ago. You have Yun going, teach me how to make them too. And you see a few hours later, it's like, amazing, Yun. It's your first pair, but I'll bet you could sell those. They're great. And you see that Yun's made these really pretty looking sandals. They're all nicely coiled up. And you see that Iksu's sandals looking crummy with these frayed edges everywhere. And Yun's like, I learned something from him. And he hands over his sandals and goes, here, you can have them. And Iksu's like, are you sure? But they're so splendid. And so Yun goes, pay me back by teaching me more things. You see Iksu waving goodbye as he takes off. And Yun goes, that was so much fun. I wanted to keep talking to him. There are questions I wanted to ask him. To be honest, I didn't want him to leave at all, but I couldn't say that to him. When he comes back, when I see him again, maybe I'll tell him to stay here with me. I wonder if he'll think I'm a nuisance. But even if he does, that won't bother me. I just hope he comes back soon. And you see Baby Yun again just going around making some more sandals, and then going around and giving it to elderly people and everyone else. And you see him just blowing on his hands as the snow was starting to fall. And he goes, I don't understand how this happened. I'm used to being alone, but ever since we met, I can't shake this lonely feeling. And you see one day as he's stacking this crate of slippers that he's made, he sees a beaten, bloody, bruised up, and dirty looking Iksu coming back. And he goes, Iksu, you're hurt, what happened? And why are you wearing such light clothes? And Iksu goes, I'm sorry for not coming sooner. I kept thinking of more things I wanted to bring you, but some people who wanted my gold took all my belongings. I even lost my books. When I was young and left the palace, my master gave me those gold nuggets I once had, but they're long since gone. He goes, Yun, listen, I'm going far away. I want to be near people, but when I had that gold, it brought out something ugly in the people around me. I just wanted to see your face one more time. I'm so happy to see that you're making sandals. Goodbye. And you see, as he's trying to turn around and go, Yun just grabs the hem of his robe and goes, I'm going with you. And Iksu goes, but I can't travel much. I can't go to the capital. I don't even have any books. Yun's like, so? That's fine. I don't have to go to the capital. I don't need any books. You can teach me. Besides, it's too dangerous to let you wander around on your own. I'm the only one who can put ointment on you. And you see Baby Yun just giving him a hug. And he's thinking back to, when he first got given the book by Iksu. You have Iksu telling him the outside world. I think that's Yun thinking to himself, the outside world. And you see Iksu coming up behind him at the waterfall. You have Iksu, I told the princess that she's ignorant about the world. But the truth is, while I have a lot of knowledge, I probably don't know the first thing about the real world. That's pretty pathetic. And Iksu's like, Yun, and he's thinking back to, hey Iksu, tell me more about heroes from history. And you have Iksu going, give me a break. You hurt yourself again? Like, stay right there. I'll go get my herbs. And Yun goes, hey Iksu, you might not realize this, but I'll always act on what you tell me. So if you order me to go, I will. I think that this is my destiny. Besides, I'm sure you'll be just fine without me. And you have Iksu going, words have tremendous power. Sometimes saying something can make it true. So if I say I'll be fine, it should become true. I should feel better. But it's not working. I still feel so sad. And you see him, just tears streaming down his face. And you can see Yun starting to tear up as well. He goes, oh, come on. It's not like this is goodbye forever. And you see Yona just watching and just smiling as she sees all the wholesomeness that's going on in here. As you have chapter 14 end. On the next page you see, haven't seen you in a while, boy. Here's that medicine you wanted. So do you also have rice, sir? And you see Yun, accompanied by Huck, is going and trading with some merchants. And the merchant goes, it's rare to see someone with you. Who's the big guy? And Yun's like, and Huck's like, me? Like, just a business partner. I've got some business to take care of near the border. And you see chapter 15, wavering determination. You have your highness, hey princess. And you see Yona just angrily stomping off in front of Huck. And Huck's like, why are you so mad? Because I crammed you in a bag and lugged you around? Because I said you were a sack of clothes and didn't handle you carefully? Or So in the previous panel, you see Huck had some kind of lumpy bag over his shoulder. So it looks like to keep Yona undetected, he carried her over his shoulder in a sack. He's like, or maybe because I used it as an excuse to get my hands all over you? And Yona's like, all of the above. And then you see Huck just running away from her. She goes, how dare you treat me like that? And Yun goes, I was hoping that merchant wouldn't notice that the bag of clothes kept moving around. Our heart was pounding. It was, listen, you two. A red-headed princess, the ex-general wild beast, and a pretty boy genius? We stand out. Drawing attention is bad. We are near the fire tribe in the capital. Do you realize how much trouble we'll be in if we're found? And they're just like, yes. And you have Huck going, looks like the priest and the 4 dragons really do live in the middle of nowhere. So you see them thinking back to ask when they asked Iksu, Sir Priest, do you have any idea where we can find the 4 dragons? And Iksu goes, those with dragon's blood live separate lives. They've moved a lot. It'll be tricky to locate them all. Excuse me. You know, Huck and Huck and Yun being like, that figures. And Iksu goes, but I know where one of them is. And he pulls out a map and he goes, here we go. And he goes, one of them has dwelt in the mist. Guess they're going to go find Smaug as they go. One of them has dwelt in the Misty Mountains since the Age of Myths. The tribe there has secretly dedicated itself to protecting that blood. They are not aligned with any other tribe and they don't accept outsiders. So that's near the border. It's like, yes, you'll have to pass by the fire tribe and the capital, so it'll be risky. And Huck's like, we'll be by the capital and the Kai Empire. And you have Yun just getting all excited, being like, I'm finally traveling. I can't wait to see this legendary village. Once I travel around the whole nation, I'll write all about what I've experienced. And you have Huck being like, what's with you? Your eyes are red. And you see the little author now going, cried while saying goodbye to Iksu. So you have Yun just going, shut up, and he just chases after Huck. And Yona's just like, I wonder if soldiers will attack us again. Huck's like, don't worry, I'll handle them. And Yun's like, protect me too. Well, yeah, I'm pretty weak. And you see Yona just kind of pulling her head, the hood over her head shyly. She goes, I need to learn how to use a sword. Huck, you said you'd teach me, didn't you? Can you teach me you can teach me while we're on the move? And Huck's like, I never said that. And Yona's like, I have to learn to fight so I can drive off anyone who attacks us. And Huck's like, Your Highness, can you kill someone? And you can see that Yona's surprised by this because she never thought about this. And Huck goes, it's all well and good to say you want to drive enemies off, but they won't just conveniently run away. You'll need to kill or incapacitate them. Can you do that? Yona's like, when I had a sword, I couldn't use it at all. Even if I'm no match for them or can't kill them, I at least want to help us get a chance to escape. And Huck's like, for self-defense, huh? It's like, you might need that. And she's like, will you teach me? And Huck goes, well, he's like, take this. And he gives her the bow and arrow quiver. And she's like, a bow? And he goes, I'll do the head-on fighting. You should target the enemy from the shadows. And she's like, okay, but teach me how to use a sword too. And Huck goes, for now we're starting with the bow. And Yona just getting a little pouty. He's like, He goes, Your Highness, King Il never allowed you to touch a weapon. By doing this, I'm defying his orders. Think carefully about why your father hated weapons. And you can see Yona's hands just tightening on the bow. And you see Yona going, so, how's she going to practice archery while climbing this mountain? And Huck goes, if we weren't on the move, I'd have her firing over 200 shots a day. Yona's like, 200? And Huck goes, try shooting a bird or rabbit or something, okay? And Yona's like, oh yeah, 2 birds with 1 stone. If you get something, we're set for dinner. Thanks, princess. And she's like, huh? You see it 1 hour later, and you see this arrow just wobbly making its way through the air as it just completely misses this bird that's flying away that Yona was trying to target. And she's like, Huck, I can't hit anything. What do I do? And he's like, So Huck just grabs a bow and just casually lets off a shot. And you see a plop as a bird comes falling down. And he goes, do that. And Yona's like, but how did you do that? And he's like, I aimed. And Yona's like, that's not helpful. And he's like, it's not? And you have geniuses don't understand how normal people work. And Yona just walks off Yona walks off in a huff, going, obviously you're incapable of teaching me. I wish Mundok was here. And Huck's like, okay, hold on. Look, the basic problem is you're not using enough strength. Draw the bow firmly, hold it steady. From there, it's about getting a feel for it. And you see him just coming up behind her, teaching her how to notch the bow and draw it. And then he just let it off with a whip at a bird. And he goes, real master archers can hit their target with their eyes closed. Try not to get distracted by what you see. Anyway, for now, just focus on shooting straight. And you see them, you're doing a montage as they're working their way through the mountains. And you see Yona doing some target practice. And later that night, you see a whip, as Yona's sleeping, and he's woken up by that noise. And he goes, what's that noise? And you see a thunk as you see that Yona's practicing archery at night. And she's finally managed to shoot an arrow into the trunk of a tree. And Yun's like, she's practicing her archery at this hour? And you see the next day, the way you draw the bow was looking much better. Yona's like, you think so? And she's like, can you shoot, Yun? And he's like, when I hunt, I use traps. It's not like I can use a bow, though. So when you use weapons, you shouldn't be half-hearted about it. Yona's like, huh? And he goes, we're talking about life or death situations. Self-defense is great in theory, but if powerless people like us were thrown onto the battlefield, do you think we could afford to not kill our enemies? In order to survive, we need to be ruthless and try to kill them in one shot. Or fight dirty. We have no choice but to outsmart them. Only someone as skilled as the Thunder Beast has the luxury of waiting for openings or holding back. So you see the next page, Yona's just looking at this small little boar piglet as she's got the bow drawn back, and she's going, it's so cute. If it were a person, if this were a battlefield, I'd need my arrow to fly true. And you see her just slowly drawing it back. She goes, drawing your bow means taking a life or letting someone take yours. And you see a foof as the arrow goes flying and just lands right next to the pig, and it just bolts off as it sees it. And she goes, I missed. It's like, Father, this is the pain my father hated. She goes, but Father, I have to take this life. If I don't, I will be the one who dies. Well, so you see that even though she managed to graze the poor little piglet before it ran off. And so she just cleans the blood off the edge of the arrow. And Huck comes up behind her and goes, "You almost got it." And Yona goes, "Injuring it seems crueler than killing it for food." And Huck goes, "You're not committing yourself to it." And he goes, "Yun, go on ahead." And Yun goes, "Don't dawdle, okay? We're almost at the place Iksu mentioned." So the next page you have Huck handing her an arrow. And he goes, "Now then, let's find out how much you've improved. Start with this tree." So you see how Yona is drawing back the bow, and you see a thunk as it goes and lodges itself in the tree. And you guys, Yuck just sarcastically going, clap, 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 clap. He goes, "Congratulations, I knew you could do it." And Yona's like, "That's really annoying." He goes, "Let's see, next, I want you to aim for me." And Yona's like, "I can't do that." He goes, "Don't worry, I can dodge. You need to practice hitting a moving target. Or, I should say, hitting a person." He goes, "I'll move around randomly. Try to hit me." And you can see Jonas like trying to launching the arrow. She goes, "Don't blame me if I shoot you." And you see a while later, "Oh, come on, Huck, stop moving around. Look at him dancing up the mountain." So you see a bunch of arrows just embedded in the ground as Huck is just dancing around. And he goes, "I don't think you're anywhere near hitting me." And you see a foo as he's just hopping around. You see more arrows flying at him. And she goes, "Take this!" And a whip and a shup as he catches the arrow in his hand. And he snaps it in half and he goes, "Not good enough. I still don't feel like you're trying to kill me." And she's like, "Of course I'm not trying to kill you." Then he goes, "Then pretend I'm someone who's after you. A fire tribesman or a palace soldier. Imagine someone you want to kill." And Yona goes, "There isn't anyone I want to kill." And Yona goes, "Well," or Huck goes, "Well, in that case, pretend you're aiming at Suwon." As she does this, Yona just grips the bow really, really tightly. And you see a thack as an arrow goes flying by Huck and just grazes his cheek. And you see how Yona goes, "That's what I hate about you. But I'll still use any weapon to protect you, no matter who I have to sacrifice." And she's got tears just streaming down her face. And Huck just comes up and gives her a hug. And she goes, "Huck?" And he goes, "Don't talk about protecting me." And she goes, "Why not?" And he goes, "I'll start wanting things. And protecting others is my job. I told you to think of me like a tool. You don't need to worry about tools." And you see them making their way up the mountain again. And you see that a heavy fog has come down. And Huck's like, "I can barely see." And Yona's like, "I wonder how far ahead Yun went." And Huck goes, "The legendary village is surrounded in mist. So it should be around here, but I don't see it." And then Yona calls, "Huck, come quick." And he goes, "I can't see a thing. Where are you?" And she goes, "Over here, hurry. It's Yun. He's gone." So you see Yun's little scarf and bag are just lying next to a tree root. And Yona's like, "Huck, these are Yun's things, aren't they? Where are you, Yun? Answer me." And you see her rustle, 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 as we have Chapter 16, The Hidden Village of the Dragon. And you hear voices coming in from the foliage around them, saying, "Leave, leave, leave this land immediately." Yona's like, "Who's there?" The voices go, "If you proceed, you will suffer divine punishment." And Huck's like, "Stand back, hide in the mist." Divine punishment? So you're some impressive god who's talking to us? Am I right? And he just does a giant swing as he just swings his axe or swings his spear to cut through the mist around them. And you see a bunch of bowmen in the trees and the woods around him, have them just completely surrounded. And so they go, "Who are you? He cleared our mist with one swing. Do you?" And then I think this is Huck going, "Do you belong to the village of the dragon?" And so they go, "It seems you know about our home. If that's so," and that's Huck going, "If that's so, then that oh no, that's the person going, if that's so, then that's all the more reason we can't let you live. Is the boy we found earlier your companion? And Yona's like, did you take Yun? What did you do to him? That boy is... And the one... So there's this mustachioed village person that's drawing the bow back. Looks like that. Just so I have an idea of who I'm talking about, I'm going to call him Mustachio from now on. And he seems to recognize Yona as he goes, you. And they're like, red hair? Like, look, red hair. Could it be? It's like a girl? And so Mustachio comes down and goes, where have you come from, red-headed young lady? And she goes, the land of wind. A priest there instructed me to visit the 4 dragon warriors. Are you one of the 4 who carry dragon blood? And you have the others around going, wow, a priest? Mustachio goes, no. We are the guardians of the White Dragon. Allow us to escort you to White Dragon Village. And here in this village you see, hey, come on, could you let me out? So I'm trying to see the village as clearly as I can. And you have Yun's been tied up and shoved into one of their houses. He goes, I know I'm a pretty boy, but tying me up and tossing me in a cage is just in poor taste. I have to warn you, if anything happens to me, you'll suffer divine retribution. The heavens themselves love my beauty, and I'm besties with the Thunder Beast. You have one of the villagers going, our dragon will decide who receives divine punishment. And Yun goes, guess there really are a tribe that was granted dragon blood. You were right, Iksu. He goes, okay, I need an escape plan. I hope the princess hasn't been captured. The Thunder Beast's with her, so she should be alright. And then on the next page, you see the Mustachio just carrying this little white flag as he's leading Yona and Huck around the village. And he goes, ah, and to your left is a statue of the White Dragon. And you have Yun just screaming out, hey, how come you're playing tourist in the Dragon Village? Meanwhile, the pretty boy's in a cage. What's with the different treatment? Yona's like, oh, Yun, are you okay? He's like, except for being tied up in a cage, you idiot princess. So Mustachio goes, we're sorry for manhandling your companion. He goes, release him. And they're like, but... He goes, we have a guest with red hair. And they're like, oh, forgive me. Yun's like, what's going on? And Huck's like, dunno. The second they saw Her Highness, they changed their tune. Well, it's not exactly her that... And you have, please forgive our insolence. This is where the White Dragon settled, once he'd filled his role as one of the 4 dragons after the wars during the Age of Myths. We've eliminated bandits and miscreants who've come looking for the White Dragon's power. Our tribe's duty is to guard the White Dragon and pass his blood down to the next generation. We take great pride in that. We cannot freely welcome outsiders to this land. And Huck's like, that makes sense. What's all this about? And you see he's just carrying Yona in his arms as a bunch of villagers is swarming around him, just admiringly looking at Yona. As they're like, oh, red hair, it's red hair. Is it real? It's like so beautiful. It's like, praise God. And Yona just got the sparkle eyes. She's like, Huck, did you hear that? They think I'm beautiful. And he's like, yeah, your hair. And Yun's like, it is pretty unusual. I've never seen hair like that before. Do they worship red hair here or something? So they goes, red hair has always held special meaning for us, since the first White Dragon served a master with red hair. And Yona goes, I always hated my hair because it's different from everyone else. And they go, what a shame. It's like the Crimson Dragon King's hair. And what's more, a priest sent you to us. And Mustachio goes, perhaps, I mean, you might be the person we've been waiting for. Or you might not be. And Yun's like, seeing as we know your secret now, what happens if she isn't? Mustachio just goes silent for a moment. He goes, anyway, I'll take you to the White Dragon. And Yun's like, why the long pause? And he goes and he pokes Huck. He's like, hey, Thunder Beast, protect me if things go badly, okay? And Huck's like, huh? I wonder what I'd do. And Yun's like, hey, what makes the White Dragon special? Isn't everyone in this village a descendant of the original? And he goes, yes, we're all descended from the White Dragon, but only one person has inherited the White Dragon's power. He was born with the dragon's arm. And so you see in this one little hut with this little outcropping, someone wakes up and goes out to the little balcony, and you see that they have this long arm with these giant nails coming out of it and the scaly looking skin. You have White Dragon, are you awake? He's like, White Dragon. The White Dragon goes, for some reason this morning my right hand is throbbing. And you see the old lady that's sitting outside going, everyone, emergency! White Dragon's hand is throbbing. The White Dragon goes, it's fine, don't overreact. And the old lady, priest, caretaker, whatever, is going, whew, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I thought you'd injured your hand. And he goes, you all overreact to everything. Ever since I was little, you've kept me from getting sick and kept my power from falling into the hands of outsiders. But I should be protecting you. And the old lady goes, what are you saying? You have the power of a god. You're our pride and our reason for existence. And you shine more beautifully than any prior white dragon. And he goes, I think you're biased about that, Granny. I'll do my best to live up to the name, but I'm frustrated. I don't know when to use my power or what to use it for. So Granny goes, White Dragon, your power has been passed down since the age of myths. In this generation it might not be called upon at all, but the next White Dragon, or even the one after, might need the power of a god to protect their master. For now, you don't have to worry about anything but staying safe here. And the White Dragon goes, the next White Dragon? Who is this master I have to protect? When will we meet? If my power isn't needed in this era, I have no purpose in life but passing on my blood. I want to find my master soon. Someone who needs me. Granny goes, by the way, White Dragon, it strikes me that you're 20 years old already. The White Dragon just nervously kind of twitches. He's like, yes? Granny goes, it wouldn't be unusual to have several wives by now. White Dragon's like, several? It's like, one is plenty. So the grandmother just roars and goes, you don't even have one! You broke off that excellent man just the other day. There aren't any more girls here who are to your liking. And the White Dragon just covering his face like, soon, I want to meet my master soon. And he has a chatter outside and he goes, there's a lot of noise outside this morning. Granny's like, oh, that? I gather some outsiders are wandering by. And the White Dragon's like, what? Aren't they to be killed immediately? And the Granny goes, I hear they're rather unusual. They've caused an uproar in the village. We've invited intruders into this village? So White Dragon goes, I hear one of them is a cute girl. So White Dragon goes, so what? Female assassins are the most dangerous. And you hear a whish as I'm going out. And like, White Dragon. And he goes, I will use my power to protect my village. Curse you, intruders. I'll make you pay. You see the next panel, Yona's just stretching out. She's put a hood over her hair to cover it up so people will stop fussing over her. And Huck's like, what's wrong, princess? Yona's like, this is ridiculous. When a child in this village is born with the power of the White Dragon, the previous White Dragon soon loses his power. Then that child has to carry on the bloodline until the power is needed someday. And now, I'm here to borrow that power. Huck's like, changed your mind? And Yona just smiles a little. And Huck's taken aback by this, and she leans in and goes, Huck, lend me your sword. And she grabs his sword out of his sash. And he goes, she caught me off guard. And she goes, I've made up my mind. There's no going back. But if I can't get help from the White Dragon, I want you to train me more. Got it? And you hear, White Dragon, wait, White Dragon. And you have him going, is this where they went? He's like, there's one. She's swinging a sword around. It's like, you wretch, how dare you throw this village into chaos? With my claws, I'll tear you to shreds. And he calls out, you there. And the next page, as Yona turns around, he's taken aback by her beauty. And we get a look at the Bishonen White Dragon. Yeah, I think we got a good look there. And he goes, red hair. And you see a thump, 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 thump. 4 dragon warriors, you are now extensions of us. And he goes, what's happening? My arm, my blood. So you must serve the Crimson Dragon. You must protect and love him all the days of your lives and never betray him. It's like, it feels like it's boiling. And you see a crackle, crackle as he screams out. And he goes, this person is the master I've been yearning for. You have chapter 16 end. So I think we're getting close to an hour now, but because I think there's only one chapter left, I'll do what I did for volume 2 and just finish it off and do a quick review after that. So you have someone saying to the current white dragon, whose name is Gija, going, Gija, the 4 dragon warriors were born during the Age of Myths to protect the Crimson Dragon King. Your power will be needed when the king returns. And he goes, when will that be, father? When will my king appear? And he goes, you'll know when you see him. Your blood will tell you. The white dragon's blood within you will reveal the king to you. He goes, you'll see a blinding light. When that happens, Gija, or I suppose I should say white dragon, it will be time for your journey to begin. And you see chapter 17 at long last. You see that Gija's completely collapsed over, and you see his white dragon arm has gotten even more scaly, and you see his fingers and his claws have really elongated to look more like a dragon's hand. And they're like, and you see them going, white dragon, white dragon. Yona's like, is he all right? And they go, oh, look at his hand. And you see it sizzling as it's just going to this new size. And Yona's like, oh. He goes, father, and all the white dragons who protected this blood in our tribe. Yona's like, white dragon? And he goes, yes. He goes, I thank you. I am the one who carries the blood of the white dragon passed down since ancient times. I have been waiting for you, my master. And he just bows deeply to Yona. And Yona's like, master? What do you mean? And you see all the villagers emulating him as just bow down to her. And they go, congratulations, white dragon, our king is here at last. And Yona's like, king? And they have, after protecting our god's power for centuries, today it all comes to fruition. And Yona's like, well, they're sure happy. And Yona's like, king? Is it because of royalty? And Huck's like, they probably think you're the Crimson Dragon King because of your red hair. And Yona's like, but I'm not descended from his bloodline. According to the kingdom's history, sometimes the royal family has been from the fire or water tribes. So I think the Crimson Dragon King's bloodline died out. And you have Yona belongs to the Sky tribe, which has only ruled for about 250 years. And you have Gija going, my master. And she's like, huh? And he goes, tell me your name, I pray. And she goes, I'm Yona. And she's like, wow, so this is the white dragon. Silver hair and a flawless pale skin. He barely even looks human. And he goes, Lady Yona. And Yona's like, you're so beautiful. And he's like, I was like, not at all. Your majesty far outshines me. And he's just like, and Yona's like, I'm not your king or your master. I'm nothing but a troublemaker who wants the power of a god to protect myself and my friends. And Yona's like, I don't think you should say that. Don't you know how to handle people? And Yona's like, I'm looking for the other 3 dragons too. But to start with, I'd like to borrow your power. Is that okay? And he just a little bit taken back, but he just comes around and he's like, yes, I would be honored. No matter who you are or what your goals might be from this day forward, I am your dragon. That's right. That's what the blood in my veins is telling me. And you have Yun going, I wasn't expecting that. Ixu's prophecy was dead on. But I didn't expect your dragon to join us so easily. Yona's like, when I told him I was a princess, he seemed taken aback. Seems like he really was going to help us unconditionally. And Yun's like, and then there's the troublemaker thing. That made me nervous. Yona's like, well, it's the truth. I didn't want to lie to him. And Yun's like, and then he had this creepy grin the whole time. And Huck's like, nah. I was just having a blast watching Her Highness, picking a fight with a god. And Yona's like, are you being sarcastic? And Huck's like, it's like, nope. He thinks to himself, she's acting tough so no one will realize she's insecure, but I like seeing her take a gamble. You see, Huck's feeling a bit sadistic. If the white dragon's helping us so readily, our trip should go smoothly. And you see a twitch as Gija's resting back in his hut. And he goes, my right arm and the rest of my body still feel like they're on fire. Since the moment I saw her, my blood felt like it was about to boil, and the voice of the dragon echoed in my soul. 4 dragon warriors, you must protect and love him all the days of your lives and never betray him. And he goes, my whole life I've been told that this is my tribe's desire. After millennia, this mission has been given to me. Father, please watch over me. And you see a knock knock as Huck comes in and goes, excuse me. He's like, what? Scoundrel, how dare you enter the palace of the White Dragon uninvited? And Huck's like, palace? He's like, my bad. I'm rounding up some weapons and food. Do you have any? So he just starts going through his belongings. He's like, what are you doing? Stop that. And you hear a clink as Geeta just gives him a bag of money. And he's like, wow, how very generous of you, White Dragon. And he goes, take this and leave the village. And Huck's like, huh? Thank you. And Geeta goes, thank you for your efforts. I shall protect the princess from this point on, so you're free to leave. I'm just going to turn the light on so it gets a little bit brighter in here. And Huck's like, huh? And you have Yuna being, oh, they're back. And you see both him and Geeta stomping back with a rumble. And Yuna's like, oh, there's a storm brewing around him. Great, just great. Yona's like, what's the matter? And Huck's like, we can't rely on him, Your Highness. Let's find someone else. Geeta's like, what? You should be the one to leave. I can protect Her Highness perfectly well on my own. And Huck's like, a sheltered rich boy like you could never handle the outside world. And Geeta's like, Your Highness, why is this ruffian serving as your bodyguard? And Yona's like, what happened? And Huck's like, the White Dragon gave me some money and told me to scram. And Yona's like, so what's with the suspicious bulge there? You took the money? And you see that Huck's just kind of shoved the money into his little vest and kept it there. He's like, maybe I've gained some weight. And Geeta goes, as one of the 4 dragons, my role is to protect her. You're not one of us, so you should leave. And Yona comes running up and grabs his arm and goes, no! Huck is a childhood friend. Even when I left the palace, even when I was all alone, he stayed by my side. He means a lot to me. I need him with me. And you have Huck just doing this evil, demented laugh, like, and he goes, there, see? That's how it is. Nothing to be done. And he's trying to act all cool, and you just have an author notes going, happy. He's incredibly happy. And Yona grabs the money and gives it back to him and says, take this back. So Geeta goes, if that's what Her Highness wants. Huck's like, where'd my extra weight go? And Yona goes, but I need you too. The way things have been going, Huck's going to die protecting me. So I want you to protect him to keep him from dying. And you have everyone's kind of shocked, taken aback from it. It's like, oh? And Geeta's like, oh, I understand how it is. You want me to save him because he's weak. You can count on me. Although I won't protect him as well as I'll guard you. Because Huck's annoyed by this. He's like, no need. Things haven't gotten so bad that I need to be protected by some white snake. And Geeta's like, a white snake? How dare you call a holy dragon a snake? And Yona's like, this is getting incredibly annoying. Let's hurry up and go. Yona's like, yeah. And you see White Dragon, as you see all the villagers just standing there, ready to say bye. And he goes back to them and he says, oh, but I said you didn't need to see me off, everyone. And like, we couldn't let you leave that way. We thought you'd wait until tomorrow to go. And he goes, why would I wait? My master has arrived, and she requires my strength. The other white dragons gave me this power for this exact purpose. Divine punishment will befall me if I rely on your generous hearts until the day I leave. And they're like, the white dragon holds himself to such high standards. It's admirable. It's like he's so beautiful, and his skin is so smooth, and his hair is so soft, and he makes girls cry. It's like he broke off our engagement just the other day. And the mustachio comes up and goes, White Dragon, until you return, we will protect this village. He goes, I'm counting on you. As long as the village is secure, if by some chance I lose my life, a new white dragon will be born. And you have all the men just start crying. It's like, don't say such things. You're making us cry. How could you, White Dragon? He's like, sorry. And you have Granny coming up and going, White Dragon? And he goes, Granny? And she goes, take these rice balls with you. You'll probably get cold on your journey. So here's an overcoat I made for you, plus a change of clothes. And here's a 10-year supply of medicine and beauty cream to maintain your good looks. Take it all, you thief. And you see him just shoving a bunch of stuff at him. He's like, I can't carry all that. And he goes, Granny, I'll be away from home for a while. I've left this town in the hands of my uncles. And she's like, huh? Why would you do that? I am the elder chief of this village. It falls to me to take care of things in your absence. And he goes, but your vision is continuing to fail. And she goes, I have more energy than anyone else here. And he goes, I'll admit you're very, very energetic. And she goes, but I have lost my purpose. Tomorrow morning, I won't be able to go in and wake you to face the day. Our tribe's wish has been granted, but I didn't expect it to come so suddenly. And he goes, Granny, raise your head. You've been with me longer than either of my parents. You've watched me grow to adulthood. You mean so much to me. Even when I'm far away, I will wish for you and everyone else to be happy. So I want you to take care of yourself and live peacefully. The granny just gets annoyed. She's like, I can't stand this. You sound like you expect me to die any day soon. And she starts tearing up again and she goes, there are plenty of years left in me. When you return after you've fulfilled your task as the white dragon, I'll be first in line to welcome you back. That's a promise. No matter how many years pass, even if I'm blind, you will still always be shining to me. Fulfill your duty and come home to us. So you see on the next day, so, which way should we go now? And it's like, and Huck goes, Yun, did Iksu tell you something else? He goes, nope, we got no new leads. And you have Huck going, what's wrong? Your eyes are red. You know, the author note going, the emotional farewell made him cry as he chases off Huck again. He's like, shut up! And Yona's like, well, that's a problem. And Gija goes, you're looking for the 4 dragons, right? And she's like, yes. And he goes, I can sense the presence of the others with my dragon power. And she's like, really? And he's like, yes, it's very faint. But we 4 dragons are like brothers. No matter how far apart we are, our blood calls out to each other. Not that I've ever met any of them. It's like, wow, that's so convenient. He's like, all right, let's head down this mountain. And they started heading off down. And Huck's like, White Snake, which way should we go? And he's like, I'm not a white snake. And Yona's like, Huck, stop teasing him. He's the white dragon. And she's just like, Huck and Haku sound familiar. And she's like, oh, that reminds me. Hey, white dragon, what's your name? It's not actually white dragon, is it? And he goes, and she goes, do you mind if I use your name? And he thinks, my name. Only my parents called me by my name. I never imagined anyone else would. So he smiles at her and he goes, please call me Gija. And we have chapter 17 end. Alright, so end of volume 3. And I like how it's building on Yona's, push/desire to kind of become more independent and more capable as she's asking Huck to try to train her and how to use a bow and a sword, and so that she can actually actively contribute to the group rather than kind of just playing the damsel in distress role. So I'm glad I'm kind of heading in that direction. We're seeing her, practicing the bow and finding out ways to defend herself. And I'm also glad the author's kind of addressing the idea of the ethical implications of Yona being like, hey, just because she doesn't want to learn to fight, fighting does involve, maybe having to kill someone to kind of defend yourself and your friends. And are you ready, willing, and capable to be able to do that? So I like the fact that she's bringing up these moral quandaries and these questions to kind of get Yona to consider, the ramifications, the implications of what this journey is going to have to eventually lead her to, and the tough decisions she's going to have to make along the way. I also like the wholesomeness aspects of, where you have Yun and Iksu's kind of relationship and how it was built up, from him as a child and how they kind of started taking care of each other. And the same with the White Dragon Village, where you can kind of see this wholesomeness and this bond and this family connection with these people that have known each other for so long, which kind of really gives it the emotional weight when they're going away on this journey. It feels like, it really does give it a depth of humanity. I think a lot of other stories do tend to gloss over a little bit. So I'm really glad to kind of address that. I think the one interesting thing this volume kind of brought up is the question of how much is this series going to lean into the magical and kind of the fantastical fantasy elements, because the white dragon, like being a literal almost white dragon with the scaled arms and like the claws and everything else, at the introduction I thought it was just going to be a reference to some kind of medical condition where it's like, oh, they have like the scale skin and everything like that, but they're not an actual dragon. It's just they have these characteristics that remind you of that. With the whole blood boiling and the claws growing out and everything, I wonder if we're gonna see like magic and a little bit of more fantasy elements introduced into the series, and I'm not really sure how well that's gonna really work with kind of the historical fiction kind of genre theme we have going on so far, but I guess we'll see what happens with that once we're introduced to some of the other dragons. I guess the only reason that really is taking me aback is we haven't really had a hint that magic is something that's present in this world, but like I said, that's kind of a small, really criticism, nitpick of that. It's not really such a big deal, so I'm looking forward to where that goes. But apart from that, really enjoying this series so far. Cannot wait to dive into Volume 4. And I think after I go through Volume 4, there'll be a little bit of a break until I can pick up the next couple of volumes. And like I mentioned in my channel update, if anyone has any opinions on if you want me to do the whole, because I think there's 20 to 30 volumes of Yona out right now. So if anyone has any opinions, if they want me to do the entire 20 volume, read through, recap everything like I'm doing for these ones, or if you would prefer that, after a certain set of volumes, you just prefer me to do like a volume recap and review. If that's something you prefer, I'm open to either suggestion. So you want to let me know in the comments below if you prefer one or the other. That would be really great. But in the absence of anything like that, I think I will just try to read through all the current volumes just for the sake of continuity, and just try to maintain that. But apart from that, I'm going to end this very, very long speech I just went on about. I hope you all are enjoying the Yona volume read through so far. And yeah, until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.